Amen. The text for today is found in Isaiah chapter 40, going from verse 28 to verse 31. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Teach me, Lord, to wait. Here ends our text. Here begins our life. Redemption is to live in the revelation of a renewed relation with God. Redemption is to live in a renewed relation with Yeshua. Redemption is to be renewed by Yeshua. Eagles do not fly in flocks. Eagles soar alone, high in the sky. They soar by themselves up to 100,000 feet. Up to 10,000 feet. Redemption is to live in a renewed relationship with Yeshua. Eagles do not flap their wings to fly. They float on the updrafts in the heavens. They are lifted by the unseen currents of God. You see, redemption is to live in the relationship of a new relation by Christ. Eagles have eyes that can see prey 10 miles away. Their eyes are like telescopes when they're flying in the sky. And as they come down at over 100 miles an hour in order to grab their prey, their eyes turn from telescopes into microscopes. You see, redemption is to live in the revelation of a renewed relation by Christ. Eagles, like you, must be renewed by God in life. Eagles must be renewed by God, our Creator. Isaiah understands this. Isaiah understands a lot about nature, and he brings in a lot from nature when he speaks in his prophecies. And he understands the spiritual life, and he realizes that the spiritual life is very, very much like what we find in nature. Verse 28 in Isaiah lays it out. Have you not known? Have you not heard the everlasting God? Do you not know of the Lord? You see, Yeshua came in order to renew you. Redemption is to live in the revelation of a renewed relation. That's what God did for us in Yeshua. Yeshua was the creator. He made the heavens. He made the earth. He made the mountains. He creates and forms the great storms that come into your life. And God wanted us to be renewed by our relationship with Yeshua. Yeshua saved you. You were worn and you were torn by sin. But he went to the cross, poured out his blood, and gave the Spirit to you that he might renew you. That's what it means in the text. Redemption is the revelation of a renewed relation. You are lifted, you are gifted because God did something for you in Yeshua. Notice how verse 30 in the text states it. Even the youth shall surely fail. Even the youth shall surely fall. Youth without a dream are only half alive. We live in a generation of sleepwalking zombies who have no idea what they're going to do with their life. We live in a generation of somnambulists, zombies, who have no idea what is God's purpose for them. They don't understand the revelation of a renewed relation that is given by Christ. Youth should be dreaming of life. Youth is a time when you should look forward to what you have, where you're going, what you can do with what you've got, and it should be a time to explore all of creation. Instead, most of youth is dropping out. Many of youth are just plain giving up. Many of youth are quitting. They're simply depending on drugs, street drugs, and legal drugs to get them through. They have alcohol with no hope to cope. You see, that is not what God talks about, the revelation of a renewed relation in Yeshua HaMashiach. Do you notice how many people are actually tired getting up in the morning? They're tired putting their feet on the floor. They're exhausted by listening to the world news. They're wearied by the road rage of driving on 95. They're drained and they're pained and they're strained by relationships that should be building them up but are tearing them down. They're bored. They're confused, they're contused by families that should be building them and lifting them, but aren't doing that. And the Lord comes along and says, redemption is to have the revelation of a renewed relation in Yeshua HaMashiach. Isaiah lays it out in the text. He says, youth whose understanding is unstable. Do we look at a generation like that? The youth are unstable when it comes to seeing life. God gives power to the weak. To him that hath no might, he giveth strength. See, that's what the text is talking about. Redemption is the revelation of renewed relation in Yeshua HaMashiach. That's what we have. Notice how verse 31 states it. But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Do you know how God renews an eagle's strength? Do you know how God renews an eagle's wings? Do you know how God renews an eagle's life? It may be that God is renewing you like the eagle, and you really don't know that that's what he's doing. It may be that you are in the process of a renewal that you don't even see. I want to tell you, eagles wear out by fighting the storms of life. Their feathers become battered and tattered. Their feathers become torn and worn. Their beaks become chipped and broken. Their claws become cracked. How does God renew an eagle? God renews an eagle by molting him. God renews an eagle by putting him through a mold. What is molting for an eagle? Well, the first thing, the eagle is alone. He flies to a high crag on the top of a mountain. A very, very high crag, high in the sky. A rocky niche up near the top of the mountain by himself. A little cave like a grave, and he goes into that cave and he just kind of sits there. A little ledge on the edge of eternity with a 10,000-foot drop on one side and the sky on the other side. And he stops eating. He almost starves himself to death. He shrivels to almost nothing. He loses almost all of his weight. His organs shrink. They dry until they almost die. And he waits on the Lord. How does God molt an eagle? They go to a niche high in the sky, and there they wait on the Lord. And they wait, and they wait. An eagle molts, his weight drops. His worn feathers all fall off, and the feathers that are left, he takes and he pulls off and he throws away. The eagle pulls out the few that are left. He scratches on the cracked claws until they break off and fall off. He takes and discharges the beak that is broken. An eagle molts alone, high in the sky, there in the crags. How does an eagle molt? He molts by waiting on the Lord. Totally, completely, almost dead, almost incapable, totally defenseless. He waits on the Lord. And slowly, he starves himself almost to death. All the old feathers are gone. All the old chipped beak is gone. All the old claws are gone. He's reduced to nothing. And he waits on the Lord until the Lord renews him. I saw molting once. My first church in Florida was in Basaric Town. That was the egg capital of Florida. They raised eggs. They had chicken ranches that raised eggs for all of southeastern United States. It was the egg production capital of the southeast United States. And I had a church there, and I saw the molt. When egg production dropped, when egg production stopped, when egg production wasn't what it was supposed to be, the farmers, the ranchers, would stop feeding the chickens. They'd be in the cages, they'd stop feeding them, and all the feathers of all the chickens would fall off. You'd walk into the ranch and it looked like a white Christmas. You had white feathers absolutely everywhere on the ranch. And the chickens were molting and they were shrimping. And all of their organs were shrinking and dying because they would have to grow new organs to make more eggs. Chickens, like eagles, are molted that God can renew and make the new. And I want to tell you, God molts churches. 14 people sitting in the front row of a church for 14 years waiting on God. Is God molting that church? God molts families. A family that has alcoholics for 3 generations, drinking, wasting, and throwing their lives away. And all of a sudden, one young boy goes to church, receives Jesus into his heart, asks him to come in. That young boy is changed, he is transformed, and he spends the rest of his life telling everybody he meets about Jesus and how wonderful he is. You see, God molds families to create what he wants. God molds individuals. I can tell when God is molting. You know how you tell when God is molting? Because everything you touch doesn't work. No matter how hard you try, it won't fly. No matter how hard you try to exhaust every opportunity, it just plain doesn't work. There's nothing you can do except wait on the Lord. You see, is God molting you? Redemption is to live in the revelation of a new, renewed relation in Yeshua HaMashiach. God runs people through molds to create, to resurrect, to bring them back to life. That's what Isaiah is talking about in the text. That's what Isaiah has seen in nature. He's seen it in the Spirit, and he's seen it in his own life. They that wait upon the Lord shall mount up on wings of eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. They shall lose their strength and do what God calls them to do. Teach me, Lord. Teach me, Lord, to wait on you. Do you know how God gets eagles to fly at 10,000 feet? Can you imagine how God gets eagles to fly at 10,000 feet? I'll tell you. How does God get eagles to fly at 10,000 feet? He sends a storm into their life. Because the eagles fly high because of the storm. When there's a storm, all the lesser birds head for the ground and they fly away from the storm. They all go away. They head for the ground, they get in the bushes, they get in the branches, they get in the trees. All they go, and the pounding of the storm drives on them. The eagle does not do that. When the eagle sees a storm, when he sees that there's a storm that's coming, the eagle flies directly at the storm. He flies directly toward that storm because the eagle knows that all around the storm there are updrafts, there are currents, there are winds that are rising. And as he flies at the storm, God lifts him high in the sky and he goes over the storm and it never touches him. If your life is stormy, if you've got storms in every area of your life, stop trying to flee and start trying to fly, because God may be lifting you. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. God bless you. The peace that passes all understanding. Keep your heart and your life in whatever storms you are going through. Amen.